Hello, my name is Charles. Today's topic will be about meditation. So, there's a lot of confusion for people who are beginning meditation on how to sit or how to get the mind quiet. Um, there's two different areas of meditation. You have normally a mindful meditation, or you have a more deeper meditation. They both are concerned with breath and they both have different techniques to them. There are many different types of meditations, and most of these meditations will either fall under mindfulness or a deep type of meditation. Mindfulness is more about being in the present moment and wrapping yourself into the present, while more deeper meditations take you deeper, getting out of the mind, going away from not necessarily being present, but kind of going deep within inside of yourself. Taking, I call it more or less a deeper meditation, taking a journey within. When you do mindfulness meditations, this is a meditation style that you can apply to everything you're doing, from washing dishes to sweeping the floor, to driving to working. So it's something you could do on a day-to-day activities, going through, where when you sit down to actually meditate, you're you're learning how to get outside of your own mind, um, removing the body as an obstacle and going deep within to connect to the soul, or um, the deeper part of yourself, which then from there can take on a completely different type of journey depending on what your intent is or where you're at in your meditation. That gives you kind of a very basic understanding of meditation. Now, from there, what the key principle behind meditation, or how this happens, um, which is in mindfulness and in traditional meditation, you're watching your breath, so you're working with your breath. The reason why breath is so important is because of it changes the aspects of what portion of the brain that you're using. So it can trigger certain brain functions on and off. This is where the breath comes in and is very important. That helps with meditation. Many people have questions around sitting positions. What I have found over time that has been the easiest is you just need to try different sitting positions. You you could be lucky on your first go. You find a wonderful position for you to sit in, um, that will have good posture, allow you to keep good posture, not allow the body to fall asleep. So uh, the purpose behind having a good sitting position, and this can change for each and every person, and this is based off of um, medical issues. So if you have back issues, certain sitting positions will not work for you, or if you have feet issues, medical issues can interfere. So there's not one specific standard of a sitting position that you have to use. The primary purpose behind a sitting position, and this is the most important part, is to be able to bring comfort to the body without it falling asleep and without it taking away or causing you to pay more attention to the body than your own meditation. So that position shouldn't be a position that you would fall asleep in. It shouldn't be a position that would cause pain to the body. It should be very comfortable to the body, relaxing. At the same token, not allowing the body to fall asleep. So you don't want your hands falling asleep from sitting for a long period, or the feet falling asleep, the legs. This will pull you out of your meditation. So what you're trying to do is find a comfortable position that works for each individual person, where they can sit down or be in a meditative state, I should say, for hours at a time. So, what you're trying to do is be able to stay in a position that allows you to reach into a meditative state that will allow you to meditate for long periods of time, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, or so on, depending on how long you can stay within a meditative state. So, sitting positions or a meditation position, it's not crucial to be in a set structured position. It's more crucial that you get into a comfortable position that works for your body. This is important. It has to work for your body. If it doesn't work for your body, and then it's not going to work. You're never going to get into those deeper states of meditation. Therefore, it's not worth investing the time, the energy in, unless it feels comfortable for you. So that's the key components. So you have breath, you have body control. Some other things that people should understand when they're learning basic meditation is clothing. So it's normally what I find is tight clothing can be distracting. It pulls on the body the wrong way. You don't want to wear anything that causes the skin to feel uncomfortable or irritating, because the goal is to be able to train yourself, where you're no longer focusing on the body, but you're focusing on the internal. So if you're focusing anything that takes your attention to focus on something external, as far as to the body, and it requires you to itch, move your clothing around, constantly being distracted, those clothing items should then be altered or changed to fit where you're not paying attention to the clothing that you're wearing. It's not uncomfortable. It's very relaxing and allows you to move into a meditative state without paying any attention to what's on the body. So that's very key and crucial. We've covered the breath. We've covered a meditative positioning, and we've covered clothing. These are the three crucial points about meditation. So a lot of beginners always have issues where they cannot sit, and they give up normally within a matter of a few weeks. So this is what I tell everyone when they're starting off on meditation. Set 3 time periods a day. So when you wake up, you'll sit down and you'll set a time for you to meditate. And I normally tell people, do not set a time of how long you're going to meditate. Set a time that you're going to meditate. Do a second one somewhere around lunch or mid portion of the day. Set a time for meditation, and then I would set a time for meditation in the evening. So the purpose behind the 3 meditation time frames that you're doing is for this purpose. 1, you don't know how long you're going to be meditating once you learn how to get into a deep meditation state. Therefore, what you're doing is you're training the body and yourself that at certain times you're going to sit down to actually meditate. So you have to get into the habit, the routine of it. So what I find is if you do the routine 3 times a day, and if you do it for a minimum of 30 to 60 days constantly, eventually you'll just get into the habit of sitting there to meditate. That's the first most crucial basic portion of it. What that does is it just gets you trained to sit, to take the time to keep a schedule, that you're going to be there no matter what. You're going to do your meditation no matter what's going on in your life. You're going to do it at that time. That's the biggest issue, because of everyone when they first start off, oh, I'm not really getting it. the kids are crying, I got to work late tonight, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. So we have all these excuses of why not to take the time. And what I find is if we can restructure your time, making it a priority that you will be there at that moment, you will sit. Normally, you'll start to pick up the rest of the meditation techniques to get you into the appropriate space that you need to be in for the meditation. I do not tell people to set times of how long you're going to be in that meditation period. So when you're starting out, what you want to do for those first 30 or 60 days is get that consistency down. Whether you're there for 2 minutes or if you're there for 15 minutes, it doesn't matter. I'm not worried about where your mind's at. I'm not worried about your breathing at this point. I'm just concentrating on that you're going to be there. So these are the rules that I tell people. Turn off the phone when you're going to sit down and meditate. Find a quiet space or the quietest space that you can to make that appointment. For me, I keep a room just for the purpose of meditating. This way, there's no distractions. I don't have to worry about it. So these are some of the techniques that you can use just to get yourself into the habit of maintaining a schedule of meditation. Now, once you get a little bit further, the next step you're going to do after the 30 or 60 days, you're going to start working on your breath, watching your breath, doing breath control. And there's tons of YouTube videos, there's tons of documentation of breath work. So through your meditation, you're going to start learning about breathing practices. And these breathing practices are very important. Like I said, they change or alter the state of which portion of the mind you are using, the brain. So it's switching things on and off in the brain, which is going to affect your effectiveness of your meditation. And so you want to get into the breathing work. Once you start working on the breathing work, and then you want to start working towards the mind, getting the mind quiet. And there are different ways to get the mind quiet. Some people just let the mind play out like a movie. So whatever's going on in the mind, you just sit there and you're watching what's going on in the mind. Other people like to focus on something, concentrate until they can get the mind quiet. I have found that it's very hard to concentrate on something when the mind is running wild, and it's much easier to let the mind do what it needs to do. What I found for me is it took a few years of letting the mind just run wild, and I just sat there and watched it. And then eventually the mind just stopped one day. And when the mind stopped, it was a game changer. It was, I was able now to sit down and meditate, turn the mind off, and do what I need to do with my meditation without having to ever worry about the mind. I find this makes things a lot more easier because I'm not, I no longer have to deal with the mind. I just deal with the meditation, getting myself comfortable into the sitting position that I need to, and then I can go into my meditation. What I find now, after going through all these little steps, is that I could either be sitting for a minute or I could be sitting for hours meditating. And depending on the experience of the meditation will determine the outcome. So let's move on to mindfulness. How does mindfulness work? Mindfulness is about being present in the moment, being here now, not somewhere else. And you can do mindfulness. And I'll give you an example. So you're sweeping the floor. So you're going to grab a hold of the broom. You're going to feel the broom, really feel it, and concentrate on how the broom feels in your hand. You're going to concentrate on every stroke that you're making with the broom when it sweeps, it hits the dirt. You're going to focus into it very deeply. You're going to concentrate on every little movement that you're making with the broom, how your body's interacting with the broom, what's happening with the floor, the dirt, how the broom is hitting the floor, how the dirt's being moved with the broom. And so you're paying very detailed to every little movement that you're making. So basically, what this does is you can kind of get lost into doing the activity. So you become so present in the moment of sweeping that it almost feels like the broom is united with you, and and that you're just lost into the movement of sweeping the floor. You start to, when you get into that present moment, it's like everything else kind of goes away, and there's only you and the broom and the floor that you're sweeping. And it's like noises dissipate. It's kind of like going into a traditional meditation where you're sitting down and you're going inside, but it's external. So it's external and internal. It's an interesting space to be in, but mindfulness is just being in that moment, whatever you're doing, paying great detail, not being somewhere else. So, um, if you think about it, most of the time when you're doing things, you're thinking about doing other things, what you have to do later, what other obligations you have. Your mind's wandering. So, it's bringing the mind back into control where you're controlling it, and it's focusing in on whatever you're doing in that moment. And it has wonderful outcomes, just like a deeper meditation where you're finding a seating position, a position for you to be in, to go into a deeper internal meditation. This kind of gives you a general overview. If you would like more information on meditation, I am more than happy to reply to you if you leave comments. If you like the information that I'm providing, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Um, my goal is to keep bringing some basic information to people, getting people just a general familiarization with different aspects of spirituality. With that said, I will be concluding this video. I wish you a wonderful day, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.